The lady we have been waiting for, the lady in red, we call her. I met her in Paris. She's an amazing human being. And oh my God, I can't tell you. Look, Dr. Pat, you know, I tell everybody this on your platform. I saw her all the way from across the hall in the seminar, in the conference. I was like, no, she's standing out. I got to go over there. From the moment we met, we started taking pictures. And then boom, she goes up and do this presentation. So before further ado, I want to introduce each and every one this amazing lady, the lady in red, Dr. Patricia Rogers, sorry.
Whoop, whoop.
Dr. Patricia Rogers is the CEO of Unity in Service, Inc. She is a retired corrections lieutenant with 29 years in law enforcement, and she trained thousands of employees to excel in their careers. She is a 12-year veteran of the United States Army, and she is also a graduate of St. Thomas University. Dr. Rogers discovered her gifts and talents and turned them into a business, and she has positioned herself as a visibility strategist. Dr. Rogers is a 2-time winning international public speaker, international best-selling author, and business coach, as well as virtual. I give to you all the lady in red, Dr. Patricia Rogers.
Come on, give me some energy. Bring it on, come on. Whoop, 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 whoop. Y'all know how I do it. Awesome energy sales, whether y'all know it or not. I heard somebody speak about the energy before. Energy is good because we all need positive energy. And I'm going to go ahead. First of all, I want to say thank you to Raj for setting this platform, Raj. And so many of you who I met in Paris, and this is why people need people. People need people, because this is what we do as entrepreneurs. We connect, we grow together, and somebody somewhere has what we need, what you need, what I need. And in so doing, we collaborate. And thank you again, Raj. I want to open up, first of all, with this scripture. I love everything that all the speakers have said today. And Tristan, I was kind of battling my topic, but he just, when he said something on his platform, God said, there it is. And it was one that I wanted to use anyway. And it is quitting. Quitting, ladies and gentlemen, it's never, ever an option. Y'all got that? Quitting is never an option. And you have to be up to the challenges that's going to come that will try to stop you in your tracks, because somebody else just said it, and I say it too. Everything we need is on the other side of the challenges. No way around it. Got to face it head on. James, the 5th chapter and the 16th verse, based on what all of the messages that have come from these dynamic speakers, we're right in alignment. Raj, we're right in alignment. The Bible says, confess your faults one to another. Pray for one another, that ye may be healed. That ye may be healed. And it also says that the effectual, fervent prayer, that means sincere prayer, fervent, of the righteous man or woman, in our cases, availeth much. So out of all the challenges that we go through, physical, mental, psychological, none of that stuff will get right if we don't have the spiritual man connected to the sources. We got to connect to the power source, and that's Christ Jesus in my life. And I already heard some of y'all talk about it. So we know we can do nothing of our own accord. Everything we have to do has to be by divine power. And if it's not going to work. But even in that, God loves us so much, and he'll reel us right on back in. That ain't what I called you to do. Because he has a way of getting his way. So when I surrender to him, and I know that my life belongs to him, I'm good, y'all. I'm good. I stopped trusting my life in the hands of relationships with men. I'm already jumping the gun because I'm getting fired up. But anyway, bottom line is, God is the head of my life. I trust him. I exercise faith, because faith without works is dead. That means when I get a thought, it starts here. That means that I have to implement that thought. I got to work on getting that thing together because God gave it to me. So now that means I got to work on getting it in the proper process, implementing the process, so that now once I implement that process, God takes over from there. How many of y'all believe that? Wave your hand. Wave your hand. That's just how he does it. He has his role. I have mine. I stay in my lane. And when it gets bigger than me, Big Daddy, it's yours. I'm good. I did what I was called to do on that one. The rest belongs to you. And that even goes with filling the seats of these events that we host. We're working online now. Everybody wants to work online. Well, COVID made it possible. Some of us are still complaining, but God has fixed it. Well, all we got to do, I never got ready in 15 minutes. I realized that alarm didn't go off this morning. The clock didn't go off, and I jumped up. I had 15 minutes. I said, well, what you going to do? Can you do it in 15 minutes, or you just going to bow out on this one? Well, I don't run from challenges. I don't run from challenges. Thank God I had time to put my wig on, though, because y'all wouldn't have been able to stand it if I didn't. But I tell God, I grabbed that wig, put it on, put the little earrings on, dressed from the top up. He said, I made the platform, so all y'all got to do is get on it. Leave from one room and go to the other. I'll take a bath later. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. I take a bath later because I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission, and everything we need, we already said it, is on the other side of the challenge. So when I woke up and I realized the clock didn't go off and I realized I'm running late and I started trying to make decisions, the first thing came to my mind was mental health. You didn't even have to wake up this morning. I could have been dead in my sleep. How about that? So that alone was a reason enough for me to get up, be late if you have to, but you can't quit. How many of you know that 50% of individuals with severe mental disorders are affected by substance abuse? How many of y'all know that? How many of y'all know that? I know we got some nurses on the platform, so I know y'all know. 37% statistically of alcohol abusers, they are alcohol abusers, 37%. And of all the people that's diagnosed as mentally ill, at least 29% abuse alcohol or drugs. Y'all believe that? Y'all believe that? Statistically. Well, I'm going to go into my story, and I want you all to know today that I, at one time, was one among those statistics. Come on, give me some energy. Come on. Y'all don't mind if I share a little bit about my story, do you? During my 29-year career in law enforcement, I achieved lots of accolades, but I also faced challenges that left me feeling afraid. I felt inadequate, and I felt so unappreciated. After about 8 years into my career, I took the corporate exam, which was the first level of supervision. But while I was studying for the exam, I learned that employees had rights. I took the test, I passed it, but when my name came up on the promotional list, I was arbitrarily passed over. I persevered through that challenge, and I succeeded. 4 years later, I decided to take the sergeant's exam, which was the second level of supervision. But how many of you all know that when you stand up for your rights, you become a target? Has that ever happened to anybody? So, of course, I took the test, I passed it, and again, I was arbitrarily passed over. But of course, I persevered through that challenge again, and with God's help, I succeeded. See, my goal was to retire as a corrections lieutenant, and I had one more test to take. But when it was time for me to study for that exam, it was always the fear of being passed over. As fate would have it, as God would have it, I didn't study, but as God would have it, two of my colleagues walked to my desk one day, 2 weeks before the exam. They said, Sergeant Rogers, are you going to take the lieutenant's test? I said, nope, I'm not taking that test because I'm sick of them passing over me. And besides, I didn't study. They said to me, well, we didn't study either. So why don't we all just go take the test and see what happens? That was a challenge, ladies and gentlemen. And when you challenge me, it's something on the inside that won't let me say no to that challenge. I said, well, if y'all go, I'll go. Well, what was really happening, y'all, God had a ram in the bush. They were my ram in the bush because, see, God told me, you can't quit. I called you to a service, and I'm getting ready to give up because of what I have already been through, drinking through the process, what they call it, self-medicating through the process. The department didn't know what I was going through. It had affected me, and they didn't know it affected me, and neither did I. How about that? Because when I learned alcohol put me to sleep, and all I had to do was sleep, and get up, go to work, come home again, sleep. Get up, go to work, come home again, sleep. That was pretty good because I didn't feel all that stuff they had going on in that organization with the politics around me. And most of all, I didn't know who I was in God because the connection had been cut off. So this is how that comes into play. But as God would have it, 2 weeks later, the test results came out. And I, out of the three of us, out of 80 people, I came out in the top 5. Come on, y'all, the top 5 percentile. How does that happen? Because what's for you is for you. And I tell God, thank you. But my question to you all is this. Did they think that because they was passing me over for those promotions, that was going to stop me? Even in my struggles, quitting is never, ever an option. I had supervised male and female inmates for years, who had serious charges such as burglary, murder, kidnapping, child molestation. I supervised those people, and I knew that I was capable of being a lieutenant. And even in that, 5%, they still passed me over. I don't have to tell y'all that. But as God would have it be, I did what I needed to do. And I stood the test. I did what I needed to do. I followed the procedures and policies. And of course, I succeeded. So you might say, well, what in the world does this have to do with alcohol? As I said before, when I realized that alcohol took me, put me to sleep, it numbed me. That's what I had been doing to get through the drama, so that I can go to work, as they say, and function. But how many of you know there's no such thing as a functioning alcoholic? Because your mind is being diminished. Your mind and thought process is being affected. But when God is in it, that's why the spiritual man is so essential. Because God keeps us even in the midst of the struggles that all of us have talked about on this platform. God was holding us up. And I want you all to know, sometimes you got to ask for help. How many of y'all believe that? Wave your hand if you know that's true. Sometimes you have to ask for help. So what I did, I had to realize first, and somebody said that earlier, you have to realize that there is a problem. You have a problem. And then you got to be ready to humble yourself enough to face that problem head on. And I ended up, after I finally admitted, this alcohol is getting the best of me. My 12-year-old son walked in the room one day after I took a vacation, but I didn't go on vacation. I stayed home to do what I did because I was depressed. I was all of that. Children see everything. I probably stayed in bed for a whole week. My son, when I finally got up, fell on my knees and talked to God about the situation I'm in. Lord, what do I do? My son walked into the room and he said, Mommy, I thought you was going to die in that bed. I didn't know nothing about what depression was, but I was in a state of depression. So I picked myself up. I took myself to treatment. My 2 children went to treatment with me. And that's something I said I would never do. I ain't going to treatment. Not me. But God had it. He had it set where I had no choice. If I wanted to be free. And I went to treatment. My children walked me in on December the 12th, 2008. And I have walked out of those doors 30 days later. And today I'm happy to say I'm 15 years old. So when y'all looking at all of us and all of us on all these platforms, everybody got something they're going through. Everybody's have gone through something. But what happens is we cannot stay in the state that we're in and think that we're going to get the blessings that God has in store for us. So when I turn my will and my life and everything over to the care of God as I understand him today, I'm good. I'm good. God shows me what I need. He gives me what I need. He puts the right people in our place. He also lets me know sometimes you just got to cut it off. You might lack that part of them, but you just got, because I got better things for you. I have more people for you to serve. And sometimes we taking stuff personal. Well, it ain't personal with God. It's because he created us for his purpose. He knows what he created us for. And sometimes he got to knock those, what they call them, those, when we going bowling, we got to knock those things down out the way so he can replace them with some other new things that's going to take us. Somebody said it earlier, new level, new devil. Well, that's true too. But he has to take us to a new height in him. And in order for him to do that, he got to spring clean. He got to spring clean the house. Because sometimes we have already served certain individuals as much as we can serve them. God knows that, you may not know it. And then they're doing certain things, or they go off in another direction. You're like, well, what happened? Nothing happened. God still got more work for me to do because other people need what you have. And this is so awesome, awesome, awesome. And I just want to say in my closing that when Miami-Dade County Department of Corrections made me feel inadequate, insecure, felt like I didn't count. When man say you can't, y'all know God said you can. How many y'all know that? When man says no, God says yes. And of course, I stood the test. I don't know why they say and keep going up. I stood the test. And of course, I ended up in 2016, I retired as a Miami-Dade County Department of Corrections lieutenant. That was my ultimate goal. But I had a lot of challenges in there. I ain't even gonna talk about the bad relationships. I'm not even going to talk about the sexual abuse on the job. I'm not even gonna talk about the sexual harassment, on the job. The retaliation when I filed complaints. I'm not even gonna get into all that, but I went through some stuff. But honey, when I realized that I could either live or you can die in this state that you're in, the department didn't know nothing about it because I thought I was functioning. But you know what? 2009, they had a contest and they said, anybody who's done something outstanding, you can apply for the award. The 20-year, have to work 20 years. And then there was an award that we could apply for. Lifetime Achievement Award, something of that nature. And God spoke to me. He said, now's the time for you to tell your story. I wrote my story down about the alcohol, how I recovered. I took treatment. I went to do what I had to do. And the lady in public affairs, she said, are you sure you want to turn this in? She said, everybody gonna be reading this. You sure? I told her, I said, I cannot just be an asset to anybody if I stay in hiding. And I saw too many incidents on that job. One guy driving in the van one night, took a break, and he blew his own brains out right in the county van. I can go on and on and on. That could have been me. So yes, we need to publish this story. And in so doing, I want y'all to know, out of 7 employees throughout the whole county, only 7 people could be nominated. Out of 132,000 employees, they selected my paper as one of the 7 nominees. How about that? How about God does what he does, but what they don't know, they had to pick my paper because God was in the process of it all. And I'm gonna tell you something, when you tell on yourself, y'all, when you tell on yourself, that thing has no more dominion over you. It keeps you, it frees you. And I'm just grateful because I retired in 2016, Miami-Dade County Department of Corrections. And today, ladies and gentlemen, quitting is not an option. You got to go through the challenge because on the other side, everything that God has waiting on you is there. And he's only there to the challenges come to direct you and to shape you and get you ready for the next level. And today, Dade County, because I stuck, I stayed, I went through the challenges, I received a 6-figure salary monthly and a 3% annual increase for the rest of my life. Quitting, ladies and gentlemen, is not an option. And when they said I couldn't, it made me think I wasn't. Today, I position myself international best-selling author 2 times because my book that I wrote just made international best-selling author. And the one of collaboration was already one. And then I'm a 2-time winning public speaker. I also am a social media marketer. And I also host virtual events, been hosting events for years and years. And the book that I wrote recently is In-Person and Virtual Events That Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, I look at God sometime, I say, you know what? You something else. You something else. Because what he has done for me in my life, and I listen to all of you, we're all in the same boat. God has been awesome to all of us, because when man said no, God said yes. And I am the #1 sought out event coordinator in my network. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put my information in the chat. I love you. I'm Dr. Patricia Rogers, visibility strategist, and I am the CEO of Unity in Service, where people need people. Thank you.
Woo.
Over to you. Over to you.
Wow, everybody, let's hear. That was powerful.
Yes.
Wow.
Powerful. Oh my God, like, let me tell you, I was in tears when you started, because my first question for you is, after seeing every time I come on your platform, you always speak and you're so powerful, but we have never heard your struggle. And I know you haven't touched, and I'm going to keep inviting you to tell more, because your talk shouldn't be about one particular thing. You should have all your struggles out there. Thanks for sharing that. And to just send out 2 things. It is said, I have this thing, I say it every time. It's what is meant for you shall never pass you by. And what passes you by was not meant for you. That is one. And always remember this, because I have been dragging it along recently. I actually did a TikTok where I sang it out long and nice. One day I had the blues because I had no shoes. And down the street, I met a man who had no feet. So with all that Dr. Patricia said there, you all collaborate that. And anyone else has any questions for or anything to add to that, please do it.
Dr. Pat, you know that I love you. You know that I love you, and since the day we met. But I almost felt like I was in church. You were talking to me. You were telling me, never quit, never stop. Quitting is not an option, and I love that. I love your energy. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. God bless you.
Dr.
Brittany?
Pat, I just want to say, as Raj said, I've attended several of your events. I've never known that you were discriminated against. And everything you described, being passed over for promotions, 11 years at the same job, the same struggle. So I did resign and left. And that was the best decision I ever made. You stuck in there and you still saw victory. Right now, as I sit here, I don't need no one to make an appointment for me, or I don't need to apply to get a vacation. I am free to do the work of the Lord. So thank you so much. What an empowerment. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anyone else?